Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. This week is a very important week for Tesla stock. Cathie Wood made some remarks in regards to Tesla's Robotaxi business. And we will take a look at that here in this video, as well as go over all of the data, the positioning, the sentiment around Tesla stock heading into this week. Let's go ahead and kick off this video with just that. What Cathie Wood just said about Tesla and robotaxis.
Not all your funds have done very well this year, particularly the one we track most closely, the largest of them, the benchmark ARK Invest Innovation Fund. We've talked about this many times. You look at a 3 to 5 year time horizon here, and your biggest investment's in Tesla, which has had not a good year. So, Cathie, how are you thinking about all of that right now?
You know, I'll tell you, when it comes, Tesla is giving us great comfort, believe it or not, because we've done the research. I don't think a lot of analysts have done the kind of research on autonomous mobility that we have. We have a longer investment time horizon. That's why we've done the research. As we get to Robotaxi Day, 10/10 next week, I think more and more people, analysts, are going to have to start modeling what this means. And I think as they do, they will conclude that this is a software as a service model with 80% gross margins plus on that side of the model, as opposed to 15 to 30% margins on the EV side. And they're going to have to adjust their expectations up.
Cathie, can I ask you though, because I think in theory, there are some other people who have done that work and who have come to similar conclusions as you. I'm just not sure what we're actually going to learn at that Robotaxi Day, and how close, and maybe more from your internal comms with Tesla and from your research into the company. What are we going to hear on October 10th? And what is the timeline for all of this coming to fruition?
Well, I think they're going to fill in some of the blanks that we have about when they're going to launch and how they're going to launch. So that's going to become important. It'll make it more real. And I think that the reason analysts are probably going to take what Elon is saying more seriously this time, because remember, he's been predicting autonomous in the next 2 years for the last 5 years. And I'll say we expected it last year. So, but Waymo is now out there, and more people are trying it. This is not if, it is when for Tesla. And for Tesla, it's also how quickly will they roll out? How quickly will they go national or even global with their aspirations? I think, as you know, Elon thinks in a very big way, and he has positioned Tesla to win the lion's share of this market. And this AI project is a winner-take-most project. The company that gets people from point A to point B the fastest, the safest, with as little wait time as possible, is going to win the lion's share of the market. And I think when people see what Tesla's strategy is, and put that together with the fact that, wait a minute, Waymo's already doing this, so this must be possible. We don't have to worry about that anymore. How big could this be? Well, we publish our model out there, and it's on our website, ark-invest.com. It's on GitHub. And you can play with the variables if you disagree with how optimistic we are, to see how big this market is going to be. It's enormous. From a revenue point of view, the platform opportunity, those hosting these networks, and Tesla will be one of those, that's a $4 to $5 trillion revenue opportunity in the next 5 to 10 years, if our research is correct. And again, it's winner take most. This is a $1 trillion plus revenue opportunity for Tesla in the next 5 years. It's a big idea.
Cathie Wood, thank you so much for joining the show today. Appreciate it.
Now, as you can see, Cathie Wood is very bullish on Tesla, and she even says in recent days, weeks, presumably months, she's grown more confident in Tesla stock. Now, what I did find very fascinating was Cathie Woods is expecting a start date to be announced for the Robotaxi network. As I've said here on this channel many times before, as long as that is in 2025, I think Wall Street will start to get excited for the Robotaxi network. If this is something that Tesla is trying to do by early even 2026, Wall Street's gonna not look at that as favorable. Okay, in my opinion, could an early 2026 announcement be positive? I guess there's a chance of that, but probably not. Now, even if it's late 2025, I think Wall Street will still get excited about that in the near-term future because Wall Street likes to price things in about 2 to 4 quarters ahead of time, and that would be right in the middle of that, even if we started in the second half of 2025. And I do think there's a lot of people that have doubted the Robotaxi network for Tesla for a long time, and I think there's going to be some surprises that Wall Street gets. Maybe not us necessarily, but a lot of Wall Street doesn't even understand the capabilities of FSD. A lot of Wall Street, it looks at Tesla as kind of an afterthought, something with a moonshot project that may or may not work out. And that's not the case. As Cathie Wood says, it's a matter of when, not if. It's going to happen. Whereas for so long, Wall Street looked at this as a if, not a when kind of project. And now that rates are projected to be cut pretty much at every Fed meeting over the next 12 months, you could start to look out a little further and say, hey, where's the federal funds rate going to be by middle of next year? Where could that, help send Tesla to? Is that going to pick up the EV business? Is that going to pick up the energy generation storage side of Tesla's business even further? Is that going to boost profitability? And the answer to that is yes, across the board. Now, as I've said here on this channel many of times before, as long as we don't go into a recession, then I see Tesla stock doing very well from here. I really don't see much of a reason for a sell-off if we don't go into a recession. Now, if the economic data weakens and it starts to look like we're going into a recession, then yes, Tesla is going to sell off. But from Wall Street's perspective right now, it's a soft landing. Like, that's what is priced into the markets. That would kind of shock markets right now if we did start to enter a period where we get slower growth, some recession fears. That would kind of catch the markets by surprise. That could send Tesla stock lower, but if we continue with good economic data like we've gotten recently, although I don't think it's very accurate, but hey, we'll take it for what it is. If we continue on this path, then with all these other tailwind factors for Tesla, I don't really see a material downside move. Now, yes, is there going to be volatility? Of course, but I really mean I don't think Tesla's going under $200 per share without some growth concerns, some growth fears in the economy. But that's my take. Heading into this week, people are now extremely bullish, coming in today with a sentiment reading of 79, which is a pretty good sign for what we can expect this week, although the second week of October has never been green for an election year, at least in recent history, and we'll look at that data a little bit more in the next video. So it's a pretty interesting week that Tesla chose to do this Robotaxi event. Nonetheless, yesterday you were bearish at 26, so that bullishness has definitely picked up. Message volume is actually picking up as well, considering it is Sunday. You're coming in high at 60, and the participation ratio today is high at 55. Option activity for Tesla stock on Friday was very good. You had 176 different trades totaling $68.24 million with a positive order value of 81%. Over the past week, you have seen 1,552 different trades from hedge funds and institutions, totaling $1.49 billion with a positive order value of 69%. If you take a look at this Friday's expiration, you have open interest on the call side of 66.02% and put open interest at 33.98%. If we go ahead and take a look at this on the bubble chart, the expiration with the most open interest is this 270 call. You have open interest of 50,447 and volume on Friday of 48,000. Next highest up is the 260 call with 31,000 for open interest and volume of 24,000 on Friday. The $300 call is seeing a lot of activity as well, about 22,000 in open interest and volume of 16,000 on Friday. Keep in mind, these are options that expire by this upcoming Friday. Like, these are very short term, very, very short term trades. And the option that had the most volume on Friday was the 250 call. 93,000 contracts traded hands with open interest of 11,000. You can see here the green circles are calls, the red circles are puts. There's really not that much activity at all on the put side. Take a look at the 250 put, which is pretty much right on the money. You can see you have open interest of 5,400 and volume of 14,000 on Friday. There's not a lot of people betting against Tesla right now. Even the 235 put has open interest of 6,500, volume of 11,000. The 230 put has open interest of almost 10,000 and volume on Friday of 17,000. The 220 put has open interest of 8,300 and volume of 10,000. Like, these are nothing compared to volume of 93,000, volume of 16,000, volume of 24,000, volume of 48,000. Like, the calls are way outpacing the puts here, and I think that just shows the general sentiment around Tesla right now is very bullish, even though in the last couple of days, Tesla stock has actually fallen from the high 260s down to 250. Let me tell you right now, this is not the time I think you want to bet against Tesla, especially considering we have had these couple of days here where Tesla stock did fall from that 260 level down to the 250s. You've kind of reset to some degree heading into October 10th's Robotaxi event. And this could definitely give us more room for an upside surprise after the Robotaxi event. Honestly, I thought we were going to have an upside surprise for the Robotaxi event anyways, no matter where Tesla stock was. I just don't think the 250s or 260s or even 270s justifies the Robotaxi event and what we're likely going to see. So from that standpoint, I am very bullish on Tesla going ahead. Now, again, October tends to be a tricky month, especially during election years. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the next video, but long story short, I don't think it needs to be a huge negative catalyst for Tesla. I don't even think it has to happen the way it historically has, because right now, the election's kind of an afterthought to investors. Right now, it's about the economy, it's about the Fed, it's about geopolitical problems. Those are the main issues, not to mention Q3 earnings that start off this week. Like, does the election really matter compared to these other potential events? Not really. Like, on the magnitude of importance, you have Q3 earnings, then you have economic data, then you have geopoliticals and the ramifications potentially for the oil market. Like, that's even bigger than the election. And then you have the election at the bottom. Like, I think the election is like the last of people's concerns right now. And after all, we all know that there tends to be a sell-off in October before the election. So instinctively, when everyone knows that, it doesn't have to happen. It seems like the stock market these days likes to screw the most people that it possibly can, So if everyone's positioning for a downside move in markets in October, then you're going to screw the majority of people by actually having markets go up or do nothing in October. Now, in recent days and weeks, Tesla short sellers have also been covering on short positions. You have went from over 105 million shares sold short in Tesla back in early August to 76.87 million shares that are currently sold short now. That's like almost 30 million shares that have been covered in just the last couple of months. Tesla's short interest of free float has fallen from 3.76% down to 2.77% and looks to be continuing lower. You have $18.5 billion currently sold short in Tesla, again totaling 76.87 million shares. Even on Friday, you had covered shares of 1.27 million, borrowed shares of almost 500,000. That means on net, you had 769,000 shares that were covered on Friday. Global inventory numbers for Tesla continue to move higher, which is not exactly the greatest thing you want to see. The Model Y up to about 7,200, the Model 3 back up to 4,300, Model X at 3,300, and the Model S at 2,000. Tesla continues to run about 4,000 different ads with Google. Sentiment on the Fear and Greed Index is sitting at 74, which is almost 1 point away from being in extreme greed. Google Trends data for the Tesla lineup seems to be leveling out around these current trend levels and actually starting to move higher again. So that is definitely encouraging. Cybertruck recently hitting a low of 42, now it's up to 46. The Model Y hitting a low of 22, now it's up to 24. The Model 3 hit that low of about 20 and now it's up to 22. The Model S was at 9, now it's at 10, and the Model X was at 8, and now it's back to 9. So basically across the board, you're starting to see more search trend activity. And yeah, the Cybertruck is seeing a lot of that, with the Cybertruck now the most searched Tesla product in the last 12 months in every single state in the United States. Zangler on X is reporting that 38 Tesla semis are now parked outside the prototype factory. He says these things are replicating themselves like a virus. He predicts sometime in late 2026 they will become endemic to the US and they will spread to the rest of the world, starting with Europe first. And Ford was the most recalled automaker so far in 2024, while Tesla was one of the least, according to NHTSA data. Only 0.8% of Tesla's recalled required service center visits. Total recalls, physical and over-the-air updates, Ford at 51, Tesla down here at 11. The only company that had less was Honda, and they came in at 9. Rivian has revealed in a new filing that its Georgia production plant will start production in late 2027. Rivian paused construction of its Georgia factory after moving initial R2 production to the company's Illinois facility, slated to begin in 2026. So let me know what you think about all of this information down below in the comment section. Are you excited for the Robotaxi event that is finally here in this upcoming week that will take place on October 10th, which is on Thursday? Let me know your thoughts down below. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And if you made it to the end of this video, you might as well. Hopefully you learned something or like a different perspective, because I do tend to go against the grain when it comes to Wall Street. And I like to tell you how it is, whether people like it or not. With that said, you guys enjoy your Sunday, and I will see you in the next one.